Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fit Chicks Chat. My name is Amanda Quinn. I'm one of the co-founders of Fit Chicks Academy, and I'm so happy to have you here today. Today on our podcast, I'm going to be sharing with you, it's like a quick podcast, but this is so important because I'm going to be talking about the number one mistake that can be happening with coaching. So what you might be doing as a coach and how you can fix it right away. So this is probably one of the biggest things. So we have trained at Fit Chicks Academy, like we have certified and trained tens of thousands of women around the world. And this is literally one of the things that we see over and over and over again. And so I'm going to dive into this and just share with you the biggest thing that we see happening and how you can avoid it. How you can avoid it so that you can get your clients the best results possible and continue to expand your coaching and your ability to help change their lives. So, the number one mistake, and I don't know if you have any guesses, but the number one mistake that happens over and over and over again is overloading with information instead of transformation. Overloading with information instead of transformation is where most coaches kind of falter because what we think is that more information equals more value, right? We think if I just tell them everything I know, I'm setting them up for success because I'm giving them everything. I'm giving them all this stuff that took me, 10 years, 5 years, 3 certifications, whatever. It took me all this time to gain this knowledge. And so by me sharing it with them, I'm like fast tracking their success. But really what happens is that we over deliver on lectures and modules and PDFs and training plans and all of these like, oh, I'm going to give you this tool and this tool and this tool. And by giving them so much information, what we're doing is we're overwhelming our clients and we're not focusing on implementation. So we're giving them education and we're giving them all of these tools, but we're not actually helping them to implement that information. And implementation is the number one thing that we need to be focusing on because people can get information. They can get information from a lot of different sources. A lot of times they'll get misinformation too, because they'll get like something from one, the Google, and then they'll get like something from another source, and then they're like conflicting. That's why they're coming to you as a coach, because they want a streamlined approach to their goals. But when we're giving them more and more information, it can lead to overwhelm. And then that's when our clients don't finish programs, when they don't apply the content, when they don't actually implement this. So this happens oftentimes because coaches want to either A, prove that they are like, I have all this knowledge and I can give this to you, or it's really just from this place of like, you're so excited that you're like, I want to just like help you so much that I want to give you everything I know, right? And you get so excited and you love talking about health and wellness and you love talking about fitness and you love talking about nutrition and all these things that you're like, I just want to like share everything I have because I want to be able to help you. But more doesn't always mean better. Sometimes it can confuse the client. If we're not meeting our clients where they're at, we can keep them actually stuck versus moving them forward by giving them too much at once. It's fine. Like if your program and your plan is to give them everything you know, plan it in a way that is like a drip down effect as opposed to it being everything at once. Because when we just start right out of the gate with like, and here's, a 20-page book, and here's like this, and here's, this PDF, and here's these recipes, and here we're going to change your entire life, and we're going to do all the things at once. They're like, whoa, slow down. I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready to do that. And then they don't even know where to begin. How many times, I can't even think of how many times I've joined a program or a course or anything like that. And then when I sign into the membership portal, all of a sudden I'm implemented with like, here's 27 years worth of content. And I'm like, that's too much. I don't even know where to begin. So therefore I won't begin. Right. It puts you into like a paralysis almost, like where you're like, I don't even know how to start this. So I'm just not going to do anything at all. So what clients actually need. So what do they actually need to be able to move forward? How do we eliminate this problem? What they need from you as a coach is they need clarity. Clarity is number one. So they need a clear path with fewer, more actionable steps. So they need a clear path from A to B, and then from B to C, and then so on, all the way to their end goal. But they need this clear path in like small doses, right? Like little milestones along the way that are really actionable, bite-sized things that they can do to be able to reach the end goal. They also need to be able to have someone that is helping coach them as they're learning. So it's like you're teaching them something and then you're showing them how to implement it into their actual life. So you're not just teaching them and giving them stuff in theory, but you're showing them then, here's what I'm going to teach you today, or here's this ebook. I want you to read it. And then after you're done, let me know. And then we're going to learn how to implement this strategy into your actual day-to-day living. The other thing that clients need, let's be honest, the main reason why they hire a coach is they want accountability. They want to make sure that somebody is keeping them on track. Most clients know if they want to change their health, they probably have to change their movement. They probably have to look at their nutrition, and they probably have to look at their day-to-day lifestyle activities and wellness. So if they know that, why are they doing that? They're not doing that because they don't have the accountability. They don't have things to track their wins, to keep their momentum going, to help them feel seen and heard. Because as human beings, we all have the same desires. We all want to be loved, seen, and heard, right? Feel valued. We have all those same things. And so, because as humans, we have that, we want to make sure as coaches that we're implementing those aspects. We're not just like, here, take this, all of this information, and then just overwhelming and bombarding our clients. Instead, we want to slow that process down and make sure that every single step along the way, we're making them accountable. We're checking in. We're making sure that every win that they have, we're celebrating it with them to help them feel seen and heard. And we're making sure that the next step makes sense for them and that we're not implementing it too quickly. You know, transformation and implementation has a start to finish line, right? There is a start to an end. But the plan along this way is a focused plan. It has a specific outcome that gives them the desired outcome of whatever they want. It's not just about education, it's about actual implementation and reaching an end goal, right? But we need to do action to get to that goal. And, there's this whole thing, and we talk about this a lot on the podcast, but how your thoughts create your actions, or your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings create your actions. So if you're giving them too much information, what's going to happen is they're going to think information overload. Their brain is going to go, oh my gosh, this is too hard. This is too much. I'm feeling overwhelmed. And then the feelings that they're going to have is overwhelm, frustration, maybe just like discouraged because they're like, I don't know if I can do all of this. And then their action is going to reflect it, right? Their action is where you see, and this is how you know a client has like reached that limit, is because when you'll be like, how's everything going? They'll be like, oh, I haven't gotten to that because, or I haven't had a chance to do that yet. And when you start hearing that as a coach, you know that maybe we've went a little bit too fast, or maybe we've done a little too much of the overwhelm. And so we need to dial it back a little bit. So how do you fix this? How do we fix this as a coach? Because now that we know that that is one of the main reasons that puts your clients in a stuck position, how do we fix this? So how do we fix this is by we pick one core result from your program that it delivers. We choose one thing at a time and we start moving towards that. We also reverse engineer everything that is going to support the results. So we look at, okay, the result is that they want to, let's say, lose 10 pounds. Okay. So from start to losing 10 pounds, what do we have to do? So we go from losing 10 pounds and we reverse it back and we go, okay, from this point, each step along the way from where they're at right now, which is maybe they've never worked out in their life and they've never changed their health, they've never looked at their health habits. If that's who you're working with, then we have to look at losing 10 pounds is going to be a bit of a challenge because they can't go from zero or from doing nothing to then just getting to this point. It is a process. So we have to build that, like build the process along the way. It can't just be like, okay, well, we're just going to implement everything at once, right? And one of the things that we love to do is teach this 3-part method. So the 3-part method is essentially teach, coach, implement. So teach, small bite-sized thing, coach on it. Here's how you implement it in your day-to-day life. And then implementation is when they actually implement it. And then you follow up and you see, how is that working for you? How is that going? And then along the way, you have checkpoints with your client. These are accountability calls. These could be virtual check-ins. They could be like on an app where they can communicate with you. They could be emails. They could be whatever, however it is. But you want to have checkpoints along the way where you're checking in and going, we just implemented this whole new eating approach, or this new workout plan, or a walking program. We've implemented these new things. I taught you about why it's important. We talked about how to implement it and make it work for your life. Now you're implementing it. How's it going? And then we circle back. And if we notice that there's a moment where they feel stuck, or they're like, you know what, I haven't done that yet, or I haven't then pause. For this next week, we just focus on how do we find a different way to implement this? Or how do we maybe scale it back because maybe it was too much? Maybe it was too much information. Maybe it was too much of a like from a programming side, maybe it was too long of a like a workout, or the meal plan didn't match what they really wanted, but you really have to dive into that and you have to really figure out what they need. But adding checkpoints is such an important part, and then accountability check-ins every single time. Also, don't be afraid to make sure that, like, if the content is too much, if you find that your clients are saying, and especially if you're a new coach or you're working with a new client and your client is saying to you, I haven't implemented this, that's okay. Scale it back. Go be like, okay, we're going to start again. We're going to just start fresh. We're going to like wipe the slate clean, and we're going to create a different program, because the whole point of coaching is to get your clients the end result. The whole point of coaching is to be able to lead your clients to be able to learn these skills so that they can then take this on for the rest of their life, right? And if that's the goal, and if that's the plan, then we have to make sure that along the way, if we run into those roadblocks, we're like, okay, pause, let's reframe this, let's rework this so that we can make sure it makes sense for you. And each client is going to be different, and each client you're going to run into different scenarios. But if we do not look at these things as coaches, then we are not setting our clients up for success. So this is like the number one thing that we see over and over and over again, is this over teaching, overwhelming, too much information, too much implementation at the very beginning of a program, and not giving our clients a way to catch up to it, right? Not easing them into the program to get them to the results. So this is how you fix it. This is the plan. And of course, if this hits home, I just want you to know that you're not alone, right? But the good news is that we can make the shift really easily, right? The shift is just, how do we scale this back? How do we look at building out an actual roadmap to the end goal? How do we actually build these checkpoints along the way? And what is my accountability check-in to make sure that my clients feel seen, they feel heard, and they feel accountable to an end result? Once we have that, I guarantee you that you will have amazing success with your clients. Your clients will feel supported. They will feel excited about the program as opposed to feeling overwhelmed or frustrated. So give it a try. Let us know how it works. And of course, if you are someone who is an aspiring coach and you're ready to be able to build your own programs, you want to change lives, you want to be able to change your own life, check it out, fitchicksacademy.com, where you can learn more about all of our certification programs. And definitely, if you love Fit Chicks Chat, make sure that you hit follow and share this episode with anyone that you feel this would benefit. Thank you so much for listening today, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Fit Chicks Chat. Bye, everyone.